What's up, everybody? It's your boy Tino here, and I don't know if there are any of you guys left, but the White Sox are 27 and 80 something. They've lost 17 in a row. The end is never near. It seems like they will never win another game. The deadline is passed. 6 guys are gone, a couple that we kind of knew, and a couple that I don't know if we thought we're going to. So we're going to recap the trade deadline, the ones the Sox made, some other trades. We're going to talk a little bit about everything else, what could possibly happen, and stuff like that. It's going to be a shorter episode, guys, today, because you guys know we'll be live again tonight at 7, and then we will be, and, there just isn't too much to talk about with this team anymore. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get the guys in here, and let's talk about this team that is the Chicago White Sox. So let's get Deech. What's up, Deech? How are we doing here today?
What's up? How's it going, Tino?
Gotta love it, man. Day by day, And then let's get the third man. What's up, Justin? How are we doing?
What's going on, fellas?
Gotta love it. So, guys, I will get your first overall thoughts of just the trade deadline and everything else like that. I'm gonna tell the trades each one by one. So, just overall thoughts of the trade deadline and everything else like that. Justin, how did you feel about it? Did you see any of the guys? Were you surprised by any other trades like the Jack Flaherty one and stuff like that?
I don't know if there was much that surprised me from the Sox or from anyone. I thought the Cubs trading Morel was funny only from the aspect of he was on that graphic earlier this year, whoever the hell put that out about like the young stars in Chicago, and then he's gone. But I actually think that that was a good trade for them. I think that they might have gotten the better player in that trade. So it wasn't necessarily surprising. It was just funny because of that. I talked about this when I was on the deadline show on Tuesday. The Giants moved Soler to trade for Mark Canha. And then they held on to Snell. Snell's there, right?
Yeah. Snell didn't move. Snell was another one
that kind of confused me why they moved a legitimate power bat. I think on Tuesday when I brought this up, someone said something about the contract maybe.
Yeah.
But moving him, but then being like, we're still going for it for a playoff berth was odd to me. I'd probably be irate if I were a Giants fan, but I haven't read too much into that. I like to see the Pirates added a little bit. I'd love to see them get in the mix and get in. So that kind of excited me. I thought the Orioles would do more in the way of starting pitching. I'm underwhelmed by the guy they got from the Marlins. I know we're going to get to that return when we start comparing it to what Chris Getz got for Fetty. Other than that, though, no. I mean, it was a quiet deadline. There wasn't any earth-shattering moves.
No, and I say this all the time, especially with everything. It's like, don't get your hopes up for anything because it happens every year. They always hype these things up, and then. Like last year, I was just telling Deech, last year I stayed live for like 6 hours and nothing happened till 4 o'clock. And it's just like, and it's like they always just do it. But, I don't even remember a few deadlines where like there were like ones I remember with like Justin Verlander or like I remember when the Sox made that 3-way trade.
Verlander didn't even go at the deadline. He went at like the whatever the hell they won at the end of August is. He went
the waiver deadline.
The waiver deadline or whatever the hell it is, the other one. Yeah. So like that was the biggest move that year. That didn't even happen until the end of this month.
God, man, it just, and that's the thing. Sometimes guys like that and that, and they don't have that anymore. So it should be interesting to see what happens with these moves. But Deech, how did you feel about it? And before I read off all the White Sox ones, just overall, how'd you feel about the deadline?
Overall, I mean, it was over a month ago. Ken Rosenthal or someone said all of these teams are not willing to give up top 100 prospect bats. So I was interested to see if Chris Getz did wind up flipping Crochet, what he would get, but obviously that did not happen. I mean, the Sox moves were okay. Nothing was like earth-shattering or like franchise-altering by any means. So kind of just, I mean, the little wins like getting something for Tanner Banks, who has no business being on the team or any future with the team, sure, go ahead. I mean, you added some depth in the farm system, but it is what it is. There's not much that was like, oh, wow. The Vargas move, it's smart. You got a guy who's controllable, who can play multiple positions. He's not looking.
Can he, though? I mean, what the fuck?
Oh my God!
He looks like Gavin Sheets out there.
Oh right. After he made that play yesterday, I was waiting for somebody to like make a meme or something of it, and it was just like, of course.
Leori Garcia on the ALDS. I mean, I'm tired of these guys, these utility guys that aren't utility guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, Vargas is primarily an infielder.
Right.
So that's kind of where I don't necessarily – I mean, the Dodgers were the ones who threw him out there to get him at bats. And, of course, they immediately – the White Sox are like, oh, we'll throw him in the outfield. Let's see what he does. So
I feel like you need to play because, like, we were talking about it with – we'll talk about the one player that we traded away to the other team. We were talking about before Justin came in here and everything. I mean, all walls are different in different outfields. You got to, like, learn a little bit. Like, I feel like they shouldn't have just put him out there right away. Maybe – give him a couple days to learn, maybe take today's off day and play catch in the outfield, and then put him out there because that play probably does not happen. But again, it just seems like everything is going the White Sox way or the wrong way for the White Sox. So no matter what they do, they can't like keep a lead for anything. So you have been talking about Vargas and everything else like that. So I'm going to go over and I'm going to recap the 6 trades that the White Sox did. And then we'll go over, there's a few other big ones like the Jack Flaherty, the Miami Marlins one. The Marlins got a few good trade pieces in return from the Orioles. So we'll talk about all of that. But I'm going to go from the first one. And then, I'm just going to go on however this website has it. So it's kind of mixed up, but I'll go and I'll start with that first one that happened. And it was that 3-team trade that was with the White Sox, the Cardinals, and the Dodgers. The Dodgers received Tommy Edman. Is he an infielder or is he an outfielder? He's an infielder, right? Edman, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's right.
Outfield. He's an outfielder.
Is he? Okay. I get confused with him. They kept saying his name. I'm like, is that the same guy? But they also received Michael Kopech, right-handed pitcher, and right-handed pitcher Oliver Gonzalez. The Cardinals received right-handed pitcher Eric Fetty and outfielder Tommy Pham. And of course, Tommy Pham hits a grand slam in his first at bat, returning to the St. Louis Cardinals. The White Sox received Alexander Alturas, Gerald Perez, 2 infielders, 2 19-year-old infielders, and then they received, it says outfield, but as Deej said, utility guy Miguel Vargas from the Dodgers, and that was it. So the Sox traded away 3 guys, and they got 3 guys. So that was the first one that happened. And then second one that happened, it actually happened later on Tuesday, I think right after you guys actually got off or a couple minutes right before or something like that. Paul DeYoung was sent into the other dugout as he was traded to the Royals. And the White Sox received relief pitcher Gerald Raza. I don't know how to say this guy's last name. But they received a relief pitcher from the Royals. And I don't really know. He's 21 with an 0-1 record, but he does have an 1.85 ERA with a batting average against .219. So right-handed, top 30 in the Royals prospects. So that will help. But the Sox got so many pitchers. I just wanted to receive bats, but that's just me. Phillies acquired reliever Tanner Banks. Deej just mentioned Tanner Banks. Tanner Banks is going to go and compete for a pennant as the White Sox received infielder William Bergala, as Bergala is 19 and is the number 10 prospect in the Philly system. The White Sox, this one I'm celebrating. I'm popping bottles for this one because I don't even care. It's Eloy Jimenez, guys. He's going to the Baltimore Orioles. Back It Up podcast. If you're in the house, I'm sorry. It's your turn. You can deal with the big baby and his high moms. And the White Sox received reliever Trey McGough. So I'm just happy Eloy is gone. But that is the 1, 2, 3. And then those were the 6 players that were traded, and those were the 3 trades that went down. So I'll get your reaction first, Deej. How do you feel about all of the ones that I just read, everything that happened with the White Sox, and just in general do you think that they got enough? Do you think they got too little? Do you think they should have got more? What do you think?
I mean, everything other than the Fetty trade, it is what it is. I mean, the Eloy one, I'm just trying to look at it as I didn't think he was going to be moved at the deadline, and sure as shit wanted them to eat his contract and just DFA him if they didn't move him. So, yeah, I mean, you got something for him. It's like another relief arm. no one was trading bats clearly unless you were giving up an elite talent, which nothing we traded was other than Fetty was, I mean, considered elite. Even Michael Kopech, all these other relievers got a bunch of different varieties of returns, and we had to throw him in just to sweeten a deal. So,
well, yeah, and I think that's, and that's the thing. Like I've said it with these guys, it's like, yeah, Fetty was like the biggest one, but it's like it's not like Kopech's having a great year. He's blown a million saves. It feels like Tommy Pham's having a good year, but he is also on the top and is older. He's a little older, but he still does play good baseball and everything else like that. But Justin, I can see, man, you're just not having it. So how do you feel about these trades?
I mean, there's good and bad. There's a lot of bad, but the good is that they got anything for Eloy Jimenez. Obviously, like I'm with you guys, ecstatic to see him gone. Once Moncada goes too, then they're all gone with all the dudes I just associate with the bad culture of the clubhouse and guys who don't give a shit, immature guys. Getting Kopech and Eloy out of there was a big step toward changing that. That said, I can't believe that they packaged Fetty and Kopech together, and that was the only return they got. I know that dudes weren't flying off the shelves, and you weren't getting top build prospects for anyone in that tier you were trading. There really weren't any that moved at all, but there had to be better offers out there. We know there are better offers out there. Dan Hayes, who used to be a White Sox reporter, said on AJ's podcast that
man, if people don't listen to the Foul Territory, that stuff is so comical. Sometimes they're just so funny on there. It's so enjoyable. But
yeah, he goes on there and says that the Twins have the better package put together. And then they end up wrapping him. They give 2 players to the fucking Cardinals, and we don't get anybody from the Cardinals in return. I understand it's a 3-team trade that happens sometimes, but like for that to be his first big trade as a GM really doesn't exude much confidence. I think I feel as bad about him in this role as I ever have, which is saying something because I've never been a fan of his and never thought he would be a successful GM. So that trade's bullshit. Anyone excited about that is just carrying water for the organization at this point for whatever reason. The guy they got's going to suck. They can't develop any. He's not going to come here and get more out of the White Sox, our developmental system than he did in LA. Like if the Dodgers gave up on him, what the fuck makes you think he'd work here? So just a bad team to trade with and a bad piece to acquire from a team like that as a guy they've let have a chance there and hasn't panned out. And he just needs at-bats and an opportunity. Yeah. Taking meaningless at-bats for the worst team in baseball that everyone else on the roster has already fucking quit on. Nobody cares. This is not the place to come do that. No. That was a terrible trade. I didn't want them to trade Fetty to begin with. I'm glad that they at least held on to Crochet, even if that's a mess. It's just awful. Just awful. I couldn't be any more upset with the return on that. And, I'm glad Kopech's gone. He was never going to make it here, but the Dodgers are going to fix him. And that's,
he's going to win the World Series.
He'll be pitching big innings in the postseason. Happy to see my Phillies get Tanner Banks. I always like Banks. Other than that, I mean, DeYoung, you signed him to do exactly what you did. That's just fine. I don't know.
And that's the one thing
the Fetty trade is bullshit.
Well, and the stupid explanation of the Fetty trade was what pissed me off, I think. Like, I was kind of just like, whatever, you traded him. But to go back on the narrative of when you signed him to a 2-year deal, you clearly fucking weren't just like, oh, we're signing him to flip him at the deadline. Then why sign him to a 2-year deal?
Couldn't they have signed him to a 1-year deal?
That's my point.
Well, he probably wanted to, but but yeah, regardless of that, yes, Deech, when they signed him, they told us this offseason, we'll compete this year. It's not going to be a rebuild. Well, then bullshit, because you didn't sign him to flip him if you were claiming that you weren't going into a rebuild. So
This is worse than a rebuild.
I will say what's funny is Eloy has already shot his fucking mouth off in Baltimore and has stated that he
Yeah,
would.
Justin, did you hear this? Were you here when he said this?
No.
No.
You got to tell Justin, man. Oh god.
So Baltimore, when they traded for him, every report I saw was saying that they plan to use him as a pinch hitter slash platoon bat as a DH. His stupid ass was quoted today saying, "I hope I get the opportunity to play the outfield and not only just DH." Where it's like, that ballpark is not better for you to go play the outfield. Like
not since they redid the dimensions.
Yeah. If they stuck him in left field, it was multiple inside the park home runs mostly. He's so bad in the outfield.
That's the thing, is he is dumb enough to see. He's just stupid. He's just not an intelligent person. I mean,
and it's sad because I'm sure he's a really nice guy.
Yeah, he seems like a nice dude. He's just.
I told you,
I was dumb. There's no baseball IQ. It was just infuriating to watch.
Well, and he literally doesn't have a guaranteed contract after the season. Has not been very good at all this year. And the first fucking thing you do is go shoot your mouth off in another organ. Like, what the fuck?
I would have kept my mouth shut and just walked in and said, "Hi, how we doing? I'll see you on the bench."
Like, I highly doubt Tommy Pham walked into the Cardinals locker room and was like, "Hey, I demand that I play right fielder." I mean, no, you got moved.
Yeah. Well, Tommy Pham is a professional. That's the difference between him and Eloy.
Well, yeah.
And that's the sad thing, where it's just like, but Baltimore's not going to put up with that. Like, they have a tight run ship there, and that's why they have turned themselves around. Because I was looking at like the worst records of all time, because I was talking to my friend, and he don't know baseball too much, but he works for the Sox, and he sits there and he's like, I talked to this guy and that guy, and so I was looking up the records, and a few years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, the Orioles were that like 47.
Oh yeah.
They were like that. They were the worst team in baseball for so long, and it's like you see what they are now. It's just incredible, especially with guys like Gunnar and Atley and Cedric, and they just bring up guys that come out of nowhere. It just so. It
is funny though. Heston Kjerstad got optioned to AAA to make a room for Eloy on the roster, which that pisses me off. If I were an Orioles fan. I mean, the pitchers you acquired, I watched like a clip with Ken Rosenthal, and he broke it down, and he said they were never going to give up any of their top prospects, so it did limit what you were going to get starting pitching-wise, obviously. But he pointed out, he's like, as much as fans may hate it, they did go and get 2 pitchers that are under control past this year, which was their goal the entire time throughout the deadline, was to acquire 2 pitchers. I mean, the Trevor Rogers one is a little tougher to swallow, I would say, because he got hurt and then hasn't been as good because he had to alter. He doesn't throw as hard anymore, so he has to alter how he pitches. But
no, and that's the thing. So I wanted to talk about that trade because we mentioned the Fetty deal and all of that and what we got for return. But the Marlins got a pretty good return, and it's funny, Deech, your cousin or that John called me and was talking to me about like all these guys on the Orioles and everything else like that. And literally after I got off the phone with them, they say Marlins have traded for Rogers, and the Orioles gave up Stowers and they gave up Norby, and they are top prospects in the Orioles organization. They're 2 hitters, an outfielder, and I think Norby, I think he plays the outfield. Infield.
Oh, he's second base.
Is it second base? Okay, because it says IF on the thing I'm reading. So. But it's just one of those things that I feel like that package is a lot better than what the White Sox got for Fetty, where it's like I feel like they could have got that, and maybe even another guy. I don't know if they're gonna get like Mayo and all these players, but I mean I would have been happy with this package that the Marlins got if the White Sox
got hitters.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, So I mean, is this like, I don't know. Like, it's just one of those things that it's like, it's not surprising, but it is also because what are all these pitchers going to do? Like, they do know that these pitchers can't hit the ball, right? So that's my thing where it's like, I feel like do you think, Deech, do you think that was a way better deal than like anything? Like, do you think Fetty could have got us that or more?
I mean, Dan Hayes said that the Minnesota Twins had a better deal on the table, but Getz didn't want to trade within the division.
Who's
So
even on the Twins? Like, are the Twins even in the top like farm systems? I didn't even know if they were or not because
they said the Sox originally asked for one of their top 3 prospects, and I think they were willing to offer the 4th one, which I believe was a bat. So, I mean, you're going to have all the people sitting there arguing whether Vargas or this dude was a better prospect. Either way, if there would have just been one player from the Cardinals, it didn't even need to be like a top prospect that was thrown into that Fedde deal, I don't think anyone would have any issue with it. I think a lot of people, like Justin said, are irritated that it was you gave up 3 and you got 3 in return and nothing from the Cardinals out of it.
yeah.
So
I mean, we talked about the Marlins. The Marlins traded. They trade. It felt like every 5 seconds somebody was getting traded. Jazz got traded. Rogers got traded. Brian De La Cruz got traded. I think they traded like 6 or 7 guys and they got like 13, 14 in return. And it's like that because not all of them are going to work out, but I'm sure some of them will. And I'm sure some of them, if the Marlins could ever figure out how to do this correctly, they could have a winning baseball team. But the Marlins always do this. They have good players and they just ship them all away. So,
well, maybe if Getz didn't sit there in the offseason and say, I don't like my team, maybe other teams would have, or GMs would have maybe liked our players a little bit better. Everyone had to make fucking jokes about that. And it's like, well, I mean, way to just lay it all out there that fucking everyone on the team is shit. I don't really know what to say anymore. I mean,
and they show it every day on the field when they make these plays every single day. No matter who's on the field, no matter if it's somebody they bring up, no matter if it's somebody that's been on the team, they always do this nonsense. So I don't know. Is there any other trades though? Obviously, like you guys said, there wasn't like anything like crazy, like the Jack Flaherty went to the Dodgers and stuff like that. But is there any other trades you wanted to talk about or cover and anything else before I finish all the trade deadline stuff?
No, there's not much to really say.
So, baseball is still being played though, and they have literally not won a game since July 10th. So, what the hell is going to stop this? And when the hell are they ever going to win a game? Because I really thought it would be a couple days ago, but as you said, Deech, they had a chance on Monday and Tuesday to win. You were there on Monday, and they did not. So, Deech, I'll ask you this. What do you think stops it, and when the hell do you think they ever win a game again? Because, I mean, they're on pace right now to lose 123 games. And that's just awful.
I mean, there's a lot of smoke around Pedro Grifal's job. I mean, Ken Rosenthal mentioned something about it. John Morosi tweeted something out about it after the game yesterday. You would think at this point it's inevitable within I think Morosi said he doesn't think Pedro lasts until by Monday he's gone. So, I mean, if they fire Pedro, if I'm Chris Getz, I would unleash Charlie Montoyo into just being the biggest prick in the dugout for the rest of the season. The second someone doesn't run to first base, you fucking go sit on the bench. I would just start making it miserable for players who aren't going to sit there and play for the money that they're being paid. I mean, this is just stupid at this point.
It kind of sounds like Grifal's already doing that though. They had the shit the other day about they're doing the PT and running and shit and stuff that normally doesn't happen this time of the year, and he's making them do it every day. So I feel like he's already trying to do the tough guy, whatever. It's clearly
I can only imagine
win when they fire him out of because that's what always happens when you fire a coach or a manager. Then the team will rip off a couple of wins just solely out of having the new voice, but then that expires.
I mean, I don't think that he's going to turn it around, but these players who are going to be here past this year need to know, no more fucking around. Not that they're the ones doing it, but this whole bullshit Eloy, because there was some report that came out that Eloy and Moncada during their stupid rehabs in Arizona were constantly having to be babysat. And fucking encouraged to just sit and do what they're. I mean, it's shit like that just needs to be stomped out this year because you can't go into next year with it still lingering. Get it out of your system.
I mean, and it's like, how long are you going to talk about that? Because, like, I saw that video. I don't know if you guys saw, but you guys see that video on Twitter? It was from like a year or two ago. They were all standing there, and all these guys, and literally the only guy that's doing anything is Jake Berger. He's running back and forth, and Eloy and Moncada are sitting there standing and joking. And it's like, that's where it comes in, where you got to be the professional. You got to be the guy that's going to go out there. And this is like, they go out there and do this. You got to keep your body in the shape. Like, again, like, we don't go out there every day to be professional baseball players. We're just trying to go to work every day. So, Deech is losing all this weight, but like, so it's one of those things that it's just like, we're not trying to do that. And they need to take the initiative, if you're going to be a baseball player, to do the workouts, do the stretches, do all the shit that you need to do, especially during the summer when this is your job. Like, this is what you get paid to do. Just like the wrestlers. Like, the wrestlers don't get paid to just go eat Chick-fil-A and every day. They got to go with the gym to look the way they do, so they can go out and have a 20-minute match at SummerSlam. It's just like, you know what I mean? And it's just like, I think that's what bothers me the most, because you're getting paid all this money to do what? Like, give me that money to do that. I'll do that for free. Shit. I mean, and that's just like where, and obviously they got way too much money than they should have in the beginning, because Rich Holland was just handing out money contracts like it was left and right, because we were all going to win parades with these guys. So I don't know. And I think that's just what bothers me the most. So, like, what you're saying, DJ, I mean, that's just what needs to happen with everybody. It's just like they need to be in and have some type of, like, something to where, like, we know what to do. We're going to do it. And we're going to, like, because, again, it results in wins. It results in playing better. Everything. And the way they go out there and play, you see it on the guys' faces. They go up there, they swing 3 times, and then they go back to the bench. And then you see Nicky going like this, or Benintendi throwing his hat. It's like, come on. Like, I'm sitting at home watching this, and you expect me to watch this every day when we all know you guys don't care. Because they don't care. There's still, 50-something games left. So what are we going to do? We're going to go 27 and 100 or whatever and not win a game? Like just that's like watching football. And, like, when the Bears didn't win a game for, like, a year and a half. It's like, eventually they have to win a game. But the way it's looking, every team comes in, they're like, we getting that sweep. Like, so I don't know. What is it now? Six sweeps in a row? I don't even know. I've went to Chicago. I've come back. I've had a party, and they still haven't won a game.
I think they were saying on AJ's podcast, now that they've traded Fedde, I believe Fedde had won 7 games for the White Sox this year out of the 27. AJ's like, that's like a third of your fucking wins by one, like the pitcher you traded away. Because we know they're going to limit Crochet's innings just because he's already really exceeded what anyone really thought he would be doing. But I did want to point out, did anyone else see the Crochet little snippet yesterday where he was talking to the media? He had, like, the biggest grin on his face.
Oh, yeah. He was so happy. He was like, hell yeah, I'm still here.
I mean, AJ on the podcast straight up was like, who's the biggest loser at this deadline? And he said Garrett Crochet, because he literally prevented himself from being traded to a contender, which makes you think, like, what was his MO? I get the whole, like, my career, I want this, like, money or whatever. I mean, that could have been the Dodgers could have figured that. There are teams that would have just paid you had you gone there and just been traded and not said that prior.
I mean, that's what hurt all of it, because I think he definitely would have been traded. Like, that's literally what stopped him from being traded. And because, so I don't know. I don't know. And that's the thing. It's like Crochet's going to pitch, but what are you going to do? See him pitch 4 innings a game? Because that's what's going to happen. And it's like maybe
he can be done making starts by the end of this month.
Yeah. Definitely, especially when they do the September call-ups, they'll call up like Nastrini or something, and they'll just have Nastrini pitch or something like that. So, definitely. And that's the thing. It's just like, I don't know. Like, if I'm him, I'm kind of mad because, like, you could be pitching for, like, a playoff team right now. Like, maybe he loves Chicago that much and he wants to be here, but I don't know. I'm sorry.
No, I think he doesn't want to pitch into October. I think he wants to do exactly what they're going to do, which is shut him down and not overuse his arm. Honestly, that's probably why he was happy. Like,
and you know what that goes back to then too? It's the fucking laziness. It's like, so you just want an extra month off of work? It's like, why? Like, I'm sorry, but I want these guys that are gonna play, that are, again, because you could get to October, but then you gotta fucking still win 13 games. Like, what happened to the grit and the people? I remember when Paul Konerko got hit in the face. He got up, he walked to first, And there you go. The other guys who've been laying there for 10 days and still.
Yeah, well, they had a lot better culture then. They had a real manager and they had real ball players. They don't have any of that right now.
I'm just
no, I'm right there with you, Tino.
And the fact even like Chuck and Ozzy, like watching them do their job every day, like it's just like it's got to be like I feel like Chuck is taking more off days this year because he just can't do it no more. Like Layla was doing the I think it was Layla and Gordon yesterday. They were like they said we need an off day, and it just like I don't know, because that's like the thing. Like when you see Frank Thomas go off, like Frank Thomas, like I think it was last Thursday or Friday, that's when he went off and he was like, "This is bullshit." Like, and it's like, well, somebody has to say something or something has to be done, because I just don't know what's gonna fix it. And I think, we've been talking here for half an hour. I still don't even know what to say because it's mind-boggling that this is what we're in right now. And the fact that it's like you can't even turn on a sports thing. Like I was watching the Marriott or the Marquee Brewers thing, whatever is here in Wisconsin, because Milwaukee, and they were talking about. I was like, what does that even have to do with the Brewers? And they're just talking about it, dude. I'm like, this is ridiculous, and so I just don't know.
You want Jerry and all of this nonsense to be nationally highlighted. Because that, I think, is the only hope you have at him giving a shit. A little bit of a shit. I'm not saying he's going to give a ton of shit. But if he's trying to get a new stadium and eventually intends to sell, who the hell is offering him a fuck ton of money and not trying to lowball him if he literally has the laughing stock of baseball as the asset he's trying to sell off to someone? I mean, it's not good.
No, it's not. So you mentioned AJ Pierzynski, and the last thing I did want to talk about is because there were some reports that did come out this past week, and that they said that AJ was a strong candidate to become the Chicago White Sox next manager, and then AJ came out and he said he hasn't talked to nobody. So first, I want to ask you guys, would you want AJ to be the manager? And do you think it would actually do anything? And should we just bring back the 2005 crew to run the show? So, Justin, I'll ask you, what do you think? Would you want AJ? Do you think it would change anything? What do you think about AJ possibly becoming the manager?
I love the idea of AJ being the manager. That said, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I think if you do, I just would love – I just think that people who have a problem with it don't know ball, quite frankly. That he's exactly what they need. That being said, there's nobody on earth they could bring in to right this ship next season, assuming that all the reports about the fact that they're going to fucking cut payroll are true. They're not going to be any better next year. They might not be – they won't be – it's hard to be this bad 2 years in a row.
I'm praying.
But they're likely still a 100-loss team. I mean, that compared to what you said, they're on pace to lose 123 this year.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, it's something like that. It's 100 in the 20s.
There's nobody who's making this team any better. I would love to see AJ be the manager, though, because at least I know he would give a shit and try and let a fire under these guys' ass, which they've been lacking for years now.
Yeah. I think pre-arbitration, and all of that, the Sox have $38 million committed to payroll next year, where it's
that's a lot of money to have.
I mean, they will have a decent chunk of money to do something with.
They're not going to.
That's the problem. They should.
I'm just saying they're going to hit at least $100 million in payroll. Jerry has not had a payroll under $100 million and would get quite a bit of backlash if he went under that. So I mean, you still have some money to work with. I mean, I'm not saying go sign Juan Soto or anything crazy like that. They do, regardless of what Chris Getz's vision is or whatever, this is kind of the offseason you would think where if you're going to add a bat, it's not going to be a one-year bat. You should kind of start to – I mean, you're going to have all of the young guys up, so –
I don't want to see you get hurt, Deech, when it's a short-term contract for a has-been journeyman, because that's how they're going to fill out that $100 million. It's just a bunch of bullshit little contracts, the same way they always do.
Gives me so much.
It's not only not going to be Juan Soto, it's not even going to be guys in the next 2 to 3 tiers below him. It's a lot more Paul DeYoung, Tommy Pham type guys coming in on those same contracts, and they'll trade them for 19-year-olds. We'll be sitting on this this show this time next year talking about the return
Justin,
we get for those guys.
why, Justin? We're gonna
Like,
keep
oh,
this
and
and
it's
go
hard to
back.
break.
It's you're like breaking my heart right now, man. You're absolutely right though. You're so right because that's exactly what's gonna happen. But and it just, oh my god, it just.
And DeYoung was good. That wasn't meant to insult DeYoung.
No, listen. Good for DeYoung. He looked happier yesterday when he was hitting the ball. He was doing the high five. I was like, I hate you, DeYoung. I'm like, literally 24 hours, man. Like you can't. You like really.
All of the guys we traded probably gave the most shit out of anyone on that fucking team, minus like Robert and Crochet. Although when you're being taunted as some fucking trade chip the whole time, like I was at the game on Sunday when Crochet last pitched, and his like body language and shit was fucking awful. But Paul DeYoung also had like 3 errors in 1 fucking inning. I mean, it was just not good, but.
They find ways to lose every day, and it's new ways to lose every day. And I think that's what irritates me the most. It's like they've had leads in so many of these games that they should just like, and it's just like it's getting over that home. Why? Listen, you want to bring in these guys and have whatever, but why are we bringing in a fucking rookie into the game in the 8th inning when we're up by 3 runs for his major league debut? I'm sorry, but that's a lot on somebody. Why are we not bringing? You could have 4 guys. I don't even care. Pedro, go get your dumb ass out there and pitch. But, like, he brings in these guys, and they walk everybody, and it's like, there we go. And everybody knows. And then Bobby Witt hit the grand slam, and then they had to mention the White Sox could have lost 6 more games and could have had Bobby Witt Jr. and blah, 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 blah. So hopefully Pedro is gone by next week. Hopefully we're done. Hopefully that's the title. Pedro's finally gone popping bottles.
Hopefully Pedro. John Brebbia, get the fuck out.
He's like, I mean, honestly, like in September, I would start like why? Like I said, why don't they
wait till September? You fucking John Brebbia after this Minnesota Twins series, get the fuck out. I mean no one who is on this team who has Chris Flexen. Fuck you. Your last start is on Sunday. You're no longer on this team either.
Can Pete be the GM? Because this is what needs to happen.
You fucking are claiming that like. I saw some bullshit on the new like rankings for the farm system. Ours is the 3rd in baseball that came out in some fucking ranking today.
I saw that too.
Young pitchers up because you're not going to know what you have and then be able to sit and cower behind the whole, oh, we're still years away from fucking like bring all of these young pitchers that Elijah and everyone talks about who are like close to being ready. Bring them all the fuck up. Because this season cannot get any worse than it already has. So let them figure it
the reason why we're losing is the bullpen. Like, if you look at the starters, and obviously 3 runs a game ain't going to do it. But we should have won 2 out of 3 against the Royals. Like, if the Sox had a decent bullpen, we probably do win that series.
When we traded Robbie Grossman, we got a guy, and he's in AA. He has like a sub-2 ERA. Just fucking bring him up. He's got to be better than John Brebbia, who like gets the ball caught in his fucking beard as he's throwing it. Stupid at this point.
I gotta love it, man. I just, oh God, it's so much. It just. Hopefully they do that. So, DJ, I want to ask you: would you want AJ as the manager? Would that be something you're interested in?
I'm not opposed to it. I know certain people were like, oh, we need an experienced manager. I mean, if you're not going to get an experienced manager, it better be someone like AJ, who we all at least know and have. But I would be cautious of wanting him as the manager only because it would like people would get pissed at him if like things didn't get better.
Yeah.
Everyone on him would be, it would like everyone would turn on him like an asshole where it's like, fuck off.
Sox fans love blaming the manager. I mean, this has been happening forever. I was guilty of it at the time too, but like this goes back to Rick Renteria. It goes back to Robin, but those teams never worked down. I mean, he definitely cost them in 2012, but
it's just I don't know.
Addicted to blaming the manager.
I mean, we will definitely have to see. But Justin, I know you got to go, so go draft that fantasy or go get a good draft pick in that, and go win that 2K tournament or that Royal Rumble. Guys,
yes, sir.
Justin is doing his fantasy draft in a 2K24 Royal Rumble. So
that
should be really
determining the order. So
gotta love it, man. So go do that. We're just gonna go through the chat and everything else. So I appreciate you as always, and we'll see you next week.
I appreciate you guys, man. We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
Peace.
So Deech, AJ Brzezinski. I would love to just see AJ come in there, man, and just scream on the top of his lungs, because you listen to Foul Territory probably like I do, and he said it on there. He's like he talks about the team as it's just another team. He's not sitting there like placating and doing all this and that. So I just would love to see what would happen, and I just want to. That's why I don't even like. I just want to see like I think it's Pedro. I just personally think it's just they don't care anymore. Because I don't know. But again, I just, that's all I keep saying is I don't know. So
would you fucking care?
Huh?
I said, would you fucking care if you were on the team that's literally going to set the record for worst ever record in baseball?
I just like, and that's the like every day I tell myself, I'm like, this is the day. Even like yesterday, I'm like, I feel good today. I felt like John Shifter's done it. He's like, it's gonna be a hell yeah, guys. It's gonna be a good day. Blah blah blah. But it just like. It's like every day I just don't know. And that's just the thing. You can see it on everybody's faces. Like nobody wants to be there. And nobody, it's sad what organization has come to. And this is where like we're at, where it's literally July. And we should still be talking about how getting excited for games and even just watching them or seeing guys, and we see nothing. Like the fact that Luis Robert is running the bases with his head cut off and just tries to steal second and third and then stands at third base because nobody can get a base hit or fly ball out of the infield. It's like, why? Like, they're all pressing. They all want to be the hero. They all want to do this and that. And now we got to go face the fucking Twins. And they just got all those good. Didn't the Twins get a reliever from the? So I think they got somebody from some team, but like, I don't know, man. I hate Byron Buxton. I'm so tired of that team. Are we at home? Or are we in Minnesota?
Minnesota.
Oh, that's even worse.
I'm going to
gosh darn Target Field.
I'll be right back. I just gotta go grab something real quick.
All right, no problem. I'm gonna start looking at the chat anyway. So
okay.
Go ahead. So guys, let's get to that chat. Let's see what everybody's doing here. We'll get Deech back in here in a second. But guys, remember, we'll be back here tonight for my GM and 2K24 as we play War Games, Survivor Series War Games, that is. We got Liv Morgan. We got Holla Holla Teddy Long. And you get another opportunity to win a membership. So make sure you come and hang out here tonight. But we got Daniel in the house. What's up, Daniel? We got Eric. What's up, Eric? Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Hey, hey, hey. Goodbye. That's what I was saying. I am watching the Hall of Fame game tonight. You already know, Jadis. We'll be here tonight, 7 o'clock. I did have it for 7:30, but I didn't know that we would be ending this early. So we'll be here at 7 o'clock to watch the Hall of Fame game, play some 2K24, and have a good Thursday night. Replace Reinsdorf with Deech. Get with Justin and Pedro with Tino. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I think. Deech is the GM. We'll have Justin be the manager, and I'll be the bench coach, and we'll just fix the organization. I think we could. The Mets have turned it around, releasing Jorge Lopez. They released Jorge Lopez. The Mets just learned how to play baseball finally. The Mets were just really struggling for a while, but then the Mets, of course, like every other team can, but the White Sox, they figure it out. So, do you have anything to say about the Mets? Were you surprised the Mets didn't do more or they did less or anything about the Mets?
Their prospect capital is very top-heavy, where if they were to have gone and got a pitcher or something, they would have emptied the farm system. So it doesn't surprise me. They were rather stagnant, but you never know. I mean, they've been playing good baseball. So,
yeah. Man, and that's all it takes. Like, obviously, you can't fall in as deep a hole the White Sox are in, but, like, that's all it really takes. I mean, the Mets, like a month ago, where we were talking about the Mets, and we were talking about the grimace thing that all of a sudden turned their ass around. So, you know. Eric says Moncada's diss track on the SouthSideBoys incoming. Listen, if Moncada takes the time to write about a podcast of 3 guys that are rooting for the White Sox, the Moncada needs to find something else to do with his time and learn how to play baseball. Because he also had a setback. So he's another one. Keep his ass at home. What's the point for him to come back, to hit 2 home runs and maybe injure his leg again.
I think they're setting it up for they're just going to IL him for the rest of the year.
I mean,
I
what's
think
the point?
drag this setback shit out and then be like, oh, he had a real bad setback, and then just be like, fuck, he's done for the year. So
I mean, it doesn't matter. Who cares? I'd do it. Eric, we talked about the Fetty prospected thing. We got 3 guys for 3 guys, and yeah. So, whatever. I am streaming the Hall of Fame game. I'll be here live playing 2K, so if anybody wants to come and watch the Hall of Fame game with me. No starters are playing, but guys, football is back. Justin doing his fantasy football pick selection thing, if that's what they call it. I forget what they call it, but he's doing that. So football's underway, and I'm excited for it because if I have to watch this shit anymore, I'm going to scream on the top of my lungs. Also, we did have some other MLB news. Thank you, Chris, for this because I kind of forgot about it. Mike Trout is out for the year. He's another one that just got injured, and he's another he can never stay injured or he can never stay healthy, and that's the biggest problem that always has been with Mike Trout. So, have you always been a fan of Mike Trout, or how do you feel about Trout?
I'm a fan of Trout. I think he's a phenomenal player. But he has that injury that reoccurring back injury that'll never go away. So once they released that news, it was like, well, that contract looks awful now.
Yeah. And that's the thing with giving guys these long contracts, and I've talked about it on other shows while I'm talking to wrestling and everything. It's like you give these guys these 13, 14-year contracts, and it never turns out to be what they hope it's going to be. It's always a couple good years, this and that. But, like I just don't understand why these guys get paid so much, but then the team struggles when they could have used the money on somebody else. Like Justin was talking about the White Sox using it on guys like that. Like, why not use it on a guy and then go get a couple like Tommy Phams, Paul DeYoung, but get that big guy that could come in. Like they were mentioning, I forgot what I was watching, and they said something. They were talking about Jazz and everything, and look at what Jazz is doing in New York. It's like, it's just crazy how fast like you switch a team and everything. And the biggest thing is, who are you going to tell this offseason to come here and be like, you want to play for this 20 or 35 win baseball team? They're going to say, hell no, I'm going to Baltimore. So I just,
if we win 8 more fucking games, I will be pretty upset.
I just have no hope, bro. I don't feel like they're going to win another game this year. Every day I sit here, I've switched TVs, I've switched rooms, I've switched houses. They don't win. I've switched states. I came back to Chicago. They still haven't won a fucking game. Like, what the fuck? I thought maybe if I came back for Ford, nope, we got to get swept. Nope. And I still wear this hat every day. And I get people look at me and they're like, why are you wearing that hat? I'm like, listen, I had somebody ask me yesterday. All right, you know what? I think it was actually your cousin, your family member. He goes, are you going to root for another team? I'm like, no. He goes, why not? I go, what do you mean, why not? I'm like, I'm just not going to go and root for the Orioles because they're in the World Series. I might, root for them to win, but it's not going to hit the same. Like, if the White Sox win it, I'm going to be running around popping bottles. It's going to hit like crack. So, yes, they are going to lose 100 games this year, but let's just hope it's like 105 and they win a bunch in September. I don't know. But, guys, that's all I got here for you for the chat. Before I continue to rant and ramble and don't shut up because I got a lot of stuff to say, I'm going to be quiet now and finish the outro, and then we'll be back here at 7 o'clock. So, Deech, thank you as always for coming and hanging out. Thank you to Justin for coming and hanging out. We'll see him again next week. We'll find out what pick he got for the fantasy football draft. And let's just hope the Chicago White Sox win 1 game in the upcoming week. 2 would be amazing. 3 would be like, guys, you're on a whole nother. We're back, Deech. So, White Sox are the White Sox, worst team in baseball. 17 in a row. Let's see how long it goes, guys. But no matter what happens, the boys will be back here next week to talk about everything that happened this past week and get you ready for the following week and all the shenanigans that goes down on the South Side. So, guys, go follow all the social medias, become a member, get your merchandise, all that good stuff. Make sure you come and hang out tonight. We go live at 7 o'clock. You can win a free membership, so make sure you come and hang out as you could win that free membership. And we're giving away 2 tonight, so make sure you do that. You stop by, you say, hey, and stay till the end of the show. So, guys, go do all that good stuff. But hit that like button on the episode, subscribe on the road to 3K. And lastly, guys, turn that notification button on so you know when we go live next, which will be, as I said, at 7 o'clock. So today's MVP, let's give it to Chris, because Chris was here for most of the episode and asking some good questions. So, guys, thank you all so much. Go do all that good stuff, and I will see you all back here on Tino's Time in an hour for 2K24, My GM Survivor Series.